Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and once again it is time for my client Alex's vlog. So we do a full body for him now. Again, he actually decided to approach me when I was putting out content on full body that he wanted to go over to do it. So I work an A-B workout for Alex. All right, so for those curious, this is actually workout B, so it's like each week it gets rotated down. So every other workout, we do the different workout. So obviously it's going to go A, B, A, B, A, B, right? He trains 3 days a week, assuming his schedule allows for it. Sometimes he misses 3-4 days and then he hits the next workout. But the beauty of that is that every muscle's been worked. In other words, because the entire body has been worked, even if he ends up having to take 3 days, 4 days between workouts, at least we don't have any one muscle that has gone, over a week without training in that case, right? Since everything gets worked. So if you look at this workout B, we have deadlifts, and we only do one top set of deadlifts. I have him do 3 sets of squats on the other. So that means he's going to get, 3 sets of squats one week, 6 the next, depending on what he's doing. But we have the deadlifts in the interim too. And we do have to remember deadlifts do work the quads. For some reason, people don't always seem to grasp that. But we have a lot more standing and overhead type stuff on this day, right? So we have deadlift, we incline bench, pull up, and we do overhead press. And then I have him do his reverse hypers on that day if it allows, right? If it allows. And no, I'm not worried about him strict pressing with any of this. If he wants to do push press with a little bit of leg drive, I don't care. I don't worry about it. And I think people overthink those sort of things. In other words, man, that's its own topic. Overhead pressing is overhead pressing, right? And at the end of the day, if you can get the full lockout and you want to do a little bit of push press, perfectly fine. I used to do tons of those myself. Back when I used to overhead press a lot, you can have times where you do a strict press. And quite frankly, I don't think you're going to see a huge difference between them. Some people prefer the strict press. And I would say the biggest benefit with doing it completely strict is if you're going to go compete in something like strength lifting, or you want people to accept it as a valid lift for a 1 rep max. Yeah, strict pressing, definitely the way to go. But in terms of just muscle growth strength, nothing wrong with the other. In fact, using a little leg drive can make it a better full body exercise. Right? I'm actually a fan of the push press personally. Right? I'm a fan of the push press. I think push presses are great. So again, we can make that case of if a person wanted to do a push press, by all means, go for it, knock yourself out. Like I said, I used to do a lot of them. I used to do rep work with over 200 all the time on a push press. And I used to have phases where I used to clean them up also, so I'd even work with like 185. Like I would clean it up and just rep it out on push presses. I used to do that all the time, 185, 195, regularly. Like back when I used to train before I built this current home gym. And I used to do some of it on camera and stuff. But I wasn't documenting every workout back in the day. I used to document some of them. But that's been a more recent, about 6 years now, documenting everything. But let's get back over to Alex's training. So that's workout A. Workout B. But workout A, these are very simple. We squat and bench. Squat, bench, pull up, right? And I might even take him over to doing some rows. I like rows too. So part of me wants to have him just rotate rows back and forth also instead of just the pull-ups. Why? Good for overall development, right? Hit those different angles. And I'm thinking of actually doing that for this coming week for him. I got to get him a sheet anyways, just for the variation to let him hit those different lifts, right? Because I got him doing pull-ups all the time. I don't want to get pull-up overuse here. So plus we have curls and stuff also. So it's not like his biceps are going to get underworked just doing rows. So that being said, our workout A being done here, it's squat, bench, pull up, curl. Now this is obviously his most bicep intensive, just like the others more shoulder intensive. And we can have a bias in those days. But the thing is, everything is being worked. And that's a take home with all that we have to think about. Everything is being worked. just we're hitting different movements, different angles. So again, this is one thing we can do to avoid overuse for some lifters, especially guys who don't have a lot of time. Like in his case, we really only have time for about 4 exercises. He has such a limited time. Again, another reason he built a home gym, that he knows that he can commit to it. He doesn't have to commute. He can just train right there in his garage. He can get his 3 workouts done. Bam, be done with it. All right, be done with it. So again, we're back over here to the workout B is being done for a second time in this week because again, we alternate A and B. So we have deadlift, right? We have incline bench, we got pull up, overhead press, reverse hypers. So this is kind of a double down. So notice the other day is very, very bicep dominant. This day is very, very shoulder dominant. But notice we keep a chest press in all of them. And I think that's something we do need to remember. Very, very chest dominant training for him right now. And it's because, again, his bench is his weakest lift. But the beauty of it, incline and overhead carry over to the bench quite effectively, right? And we all know this. We all understand this. But again, I like putting that incline bench in there for him too. And a lot of times the people on an AB like this, it might be bench and then overhead. In his case, it's incline and then the overhead on the same day. And it's because I want to address the weak link, which is his chest. So if you go really look at it, other than obviously the lats with the pull-ups every day, it's a little more chest dominant than some full bodies are going to be, and just pressing dominant in general. Because again, what we want to do is address his individual weak links, right? We want to address those weak links. We want to make sure that they get worked. Because again, for him, chest and benching has been his weakest. Like we've had a 405 squat, we've had like a 435, 440 deadlift. But our benching's been, our max bench has been up in the mid 200s. So again, the idea, we want to work all of that. And then he finishes up here with his reverse hypers. So what I also do with the reverse hypers, because again, limited time, we only do 1 set of deadlifts on that day. We haven't really hit 12 sets, in that hour or so he's got to work with. So I give him the option of working in up to 5 sets of the reverse hypers as he has times, but they're usually done with a minute or 2 between. But again, making sure we're doubling down on that low back, building all that up for him. Right? I haven't been using mine lately because I have it so built up I don't care about it. I'm not worried about it, but I still have it there. I have it loaded if I feel like I need to use it. But in Alex's case, I just feel like we don't need it, or we don't need to skip it. Apologize. I feel like I don't need it. I'm getting all tongue-tied. It's early in the morning. But he has the option of doing up to 5 sets on that day so that we keep blood flow to the low back. We build that connective tissue up so that he will eventually be where I'm at, to where that low back is pretty well bulletproof. And that's kind of the goal.